watching ENTV.
Hello friends and welcome back to Hard Hitters. I'm your host this week, Kevin Rollins, joined alongside
Carson Zorn,
Nick Aslin,
Sean Kelly.
This week. This will be our final episode of the 2022-23 NFL season. It is our final game, the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. We'll have the Kansas City Chiefs playing the Philadelphia Eagles. Both teams had 14 wins, 3 losses, getting the 1 seeds in their respective conferences. And they had some interesting turn events in their respective conference championship games. First, go with the AFC champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. They played the Cincinnati Bengals, and very close win with a walk-off field goal late in the game, but unfortunately for Carson, it was a heartbreaker for him.
Yeah, it wasn't super fun to watch. I mean, I should have expected something like that to happen because, I mean, that's what I get for actually having a relaxing playoff game the previous week. So there, of course, had to be a nail-biter. The Bengals, you can look at so many different things and blame so many different things for what happened with the Bengals. You can blame Joseph Osai for the late hit out of bounds. You can blame, the refs, which I do blame the refs slightly, I'm not going to lie. There was some weird things going on in that game, like the Chiefs getting a 5th down. I still don't know what happened there. But at the end of the day, you have to blame the play calling. You have to blame the offensive performance. The defense did what they could to hold the Chiefs in check, but the offense just couldn't get it going when they needed to. I mean, it was a great season for the Bengals. The Chiefs obviously put up a great fight. Burrow had never lost to Mahomes before that game, so the Chiefs obviously had something to prove there. And I think they came out and proved it. I think they proved that, these games are always close for a reason. That's because these are the 2 best teams in the AFC currently. But the Chiefs just got the best of this one. I'm sure that home field helped a little bit, and so did the refs.
Yeah, Carson, like you said, I think the refs definitely played a little bit of a role in here. Of course, it can never come down to one flag or one play on the field, but there was multiple instances where there were some major flags thrown by the refs or flags that weren't thrown by the refs that impacted this game. So that's definitely, I think it's always going to be a talking point of this game for years to come. But I didn't want to mention it, but last week, I was the only one that picked the Chiefs to win, and then our next game we're going to get into, I was the only one to pick the Eagles to win. That's just a subtle flex that I have to throw out there.
Mahomes was clearly affected by the ankle injury. He wasn't able to scramble, and he had a few missed throws that he doesn't usually miss. But he was still able to beat Patrick Mahomes when he needed to. That on the Joseph Osai late hit, he was able to scramble for the first down. It would have been a tough field goal to make in that wind and in that weather, but still was able to get that first down. Marcus Valdes-Scantling had a big game, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. And then Kelsey also did his thing with 7 receptions, 78 yards, and a touchdown. So Mahomes was able to get it done at the end of the day, and it'll be great seeing those 2 teams battle in the future.
There was some doubt coming in this game with Mahomes and his ankle injury in the Jaguars game last week, but he doesn't stop the music. They keep on playing, and they're on to the Super Bowl to meet the NFC champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, in their NFC championship against the 49ers. Though the Niners had a lot of tough luck early as Brock Purdy goes down with an injury. They had to put Josh Johnson in the game, and he got concussed late in the game, so they had to put an injured Brock Purdy out on the field. Just complete worst case scenario for the 49ers in their biggest game of the year.
Yeah, there's not much you can say about this game. You can't really say a lot about either team in this game. I don't think we got a fair judgment of the Niners or the Eagles because the Niners literally did not have a starting quarterback to put on the field after halftime. It's not a fair assessment of the 49ers and what that team is capable of. It was not a fair assessment of the Eagles because, sure, that defense looked great, but there was no quarterback to look great against. So that's what makes the Super Bowl prediction coming up a little harder is I don't know what to think of the Eagles after that game. Obviously they crushed it, but there's so many things that went into that. But it still was a good win by the Eagles. The Eagles offense obviously had a great game against a very stellar 49ers defense. I think that's the one takeaway you can take from that game in favor of the Eagles is that offense looks like it's humming and Jalen Hurts' shoulder isn't bugging him anymore.
Yeah, when I think about this game, the biggest thing I think of is just it was a disappointment. I mean, this is supposed to offer an amazing NFC Championship game, and Brock Purdy just being injured really ruined that. And I mean, at least let Christian McCaffrey throw the ball. Like, at least kind of make it interesting. You know, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot more than you already have, but come on, man. Like, I really wanted to see Christian McCaffrey be able to throw the ball and try something, because at least if you mix that in there, then the defense isn't always just, all right, they're just running the ball, they're just running the ball, they're just running the ball, where maybe he'll throw it and maybe you can catch a guy sleeping in the secondary or something. But what a disappointing game. It was just a game that never was really for either team.
It became a blowout, but it's not the defense's fault for the 49ers. So it would have been great to see Purdy play, or even Josh Johnson, just so they could have the ability to throw the ball. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl with the Eagles.
And Eagles, they got kind of lucky with the Niners getting their quarterback situation really messed up there in that game. So, we're not sure you can count as another major test for the Eagles, but they'll now face their biggest test of the year as they'll play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
What it really is going to come down to is I think both of these offenses are going to be putting up fireworks. Mahomes will probably throw for over 300. Hurts will probably rush and pass for over a combined 300. I wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Brown, Travis Kelce both go over 100 yards. There's a lot of things that these offenses are going to do that I think are going to be wonderful to watch and will kind of make up for what happened in the Eagles-49ers championship game. And it's very, very hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes, like incredibly hard. But I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. I think, obviously you can never count Mahomes out, but the Eagles have just felt dominant all year. They've blown out so many teams. They've blown out the two teams they play in the playoffs, and while the circumstances were a little weird for the 49ers game, you don't just go into the playoffs and blow out teams. That doesn't just happen. They're all playoff teams for a reason.
Yeah, I think that this Super Bowl is going to be kind of like the complete opposite of Rams versus Patriots a few years ago, where this game is just going to be full on offense, and it's really going to come down to what defense can make the stop, like Carson said. And I have to go with the Eagles here. I definitely do think that their defense is going to be able to make the stops better than the Chiefs, and the Eagles' offense is just so high-powered, and you still are kind of in question about Mahomes' ankle. Granted, he's had a lot of time to rest it, but he did not look good in the second half of that Bengals game, where his ankle was clearly bothering him and definitely limited the amazing things that he's able to do on the field. I don't know how big of a factor that'll play, but I'm sure it can't be fully healed by now. So he's not going to be 100% in my mind, and that's another reason why I got to go Eagles.
Yeah, I underestimated Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes for the AFC Championship game, so I don't think I can do it again. I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes again, so I'm picking the Chiefs this week. I think that Patrick Mahomes is the difference maker. He's Patrick Mahomes. He can do anything. I think the 2 weeks off will really help. It's now been 3 weeks since the ankle injury occurred. I think he'll be fine, good enough. Definitely be able to scramble better than he did last week, 2 weeks ago in the AFC Championship game. And the other difference maker, I believe, is Chris Jones on the defensive end. They're going to have to get some big stops in terms of getting a sack or stopping the run. And I think Chris Jones, in the fourth quarter, it'll be a close game. I think Chris Jones is going to get that sack, and he's going to basically clinch them the game. I don't think he's going to win MVP, because I think usually goes to the quarterback, but I think Chris Jones is going to make the difference in terms of getting the stop at the end of the game.
Wow, this is definitely the hardest game of the season for me to pick. Now, both these teams, where have they been recently? Well, all I've done this season is work. They have become, number one seed. Both these teams, I've really found that they're similar in their own way. They had a lot of big offseason additions. They found love with all their new players, and here they are in the Super Bowl. And the Chiefs, it kind of seemed like they were meant to be here, because as long as they have Mahomes, as long as they have Andy Reid, they're always in contention to make a Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl is very unique because you have Andy Reid coaching against his former team, the Eagles. The Eagles have Nick Sirianni, and he was actually let go by Andy Reid when the Chiefs hired Andy Reid. And we have the Kelce brothers, Travis Kelce of the Chiefs against Jason Kelce of the Eagles. Even though they both play on offense, it'll be cool to see like a huge bragging rights one between the Kelce family. And with the conference championship last week, I thought that the Bengals would win with Mahomes' hurt ankle, but Mahomes has proved everyone wrong. He has won the MVP last night, that often can be a curse for players to win the MVP, but Mahomes has been known to break curses. A few years ago when they won the Super Bowl, he broke the Madden curse. I think Mahomes is made to break curses. So, with the final score of 38-34, Kansas City Chiefs will once again shine bright like a diamond. They'll run this town of Arizona. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm definitely excited to see, as Nick said, this could be a high-scoring game. The Chiefs do have some doubts on defense, but that's what they want you to think. Well, guys, that's it for this season. That's all of our picks for hard hitters. Now, I do want to give credit to the OGs on the show, Nick and Carson. They've been on the show last year, and I came along during the off season, and they're excited to share my thoughts on this NFL season. Also, shout out to some of our in-season additions, like our cameraman Packy. He's been on the show since I think middle of September, October. Sean came in late in the season, helped us out in the playoffs. I don't like your jersey or your hat, but I respect it. We also want to give a shout out to Ryan and James, Bucks and Jags fan. They've been on the show in the past too. And, well, that's it. Be sure to also smash the like button and subscribe to ENTV. Be sure to check out all the other content. Don't just stay for hard hitters. We want you guys to support everything going on at FGCU. Stay tuned for Bench Drop. That'll come out later this spring where we talk about the NBA playoffs. And until next time, enjoy watching the Super Bowl, and we're on to the off season.